One of my projects for the last few years has been to read from cover to cover the old Bible commentaries published in the 1950s. I am currently working through the last two, volumes 6 and 7. The other day I was reading Galatians 5 and I found a very interesting passage that is worth repeating. The verse in question is in Galatians 5, verse 24. "And they that are Christ's have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts." Here is what the Bible commentary had to say about this particular verse. As I read this, compare it to what you have heard recently. The Christian's warfare against unholy natural tendencies, appetites, and passions consists of two steps. The first is a considered, firm, fixed, irrevocable decision to surrender the heart and will to Christ, so that he may purge every wrong tendency from the life. This decision is to be reaffirmed every day, and as often during the day as temptations may arise or one may fall short of the mark of perfection. Only thus can the Christian carry out the command to present his body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God. God accepts this resolute decision of the will and proceeds with the heavenly work of transforming the life and conforming it to the likeness of Christ. This is the process of sanctification, of attaining the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. The Christian may still make mistakes, though not deliberately, but so long as he comes to Christ, genuinely repentant, and reaffirming his original vow of loyalty, he is still acknowledged a Son of God, and granted the privilege of wearing the robe of Christ's righteousness. Discouragement may arise because of failure, when we attempt to defeat sin in our own strength rather than rely on God's power, or when we fail to cooperate with God. There is also danger in contentment with our present accomplishments, danger in measuring our progress by that of others around us. The crucifying of the flesh is a warfare from which there is no release in this life. Nevertheless, the Christian's experience may be one of continuous victory in Christ Jesus, and of rising immediately whenever he may fall. Given all the discussions and arguments that go on these days about righteousness by faith, I found it fascinating to read this passage from the official Adventist commentary of the 1950s. No apologies are made for teaching continuous victory and perfection. Note how a resolute decision of the will is the key and the only thing we are able to offer to God. Then God proceeds with the heavenly work of transforming the life and conforming it to the likeness of Christ. He will purge every wrong tendency so that we may wear the robe of Christ's righteousness. We cannot be holy without a continuous surrender to Jesus. And just like the parable of the marriage feast, his followers will not have clean robes put on top of dirty ones, but clean robes replace the dirty ones. All of this is what was taught by Ellen White. All of this is what was taught by A.T. Jones and E.J. Wagoner. This is what the Seventh-day Adventist Church believed and taught for the first century of its existence. It was so accepted and normal that the Bible commentary could publish this clear statement without fear of controversy or censure. Only after the discussions with the evangelicals Barnhouse and Martin took place did things begin to change. We began to modify our positions on key theological ideas, and many evangelical views began to come into Adventism. The firestorm of Desmond Ford's attacks on clear Adventist teachings split the church into many factions, and the church has never recovered from this. Now most speakers are afraid to teach complete sanctification and total character perfection. Some deny it entirely, while others never mention it, keeping the focus on side issues and distractions. Those who do teach these truths of the Bible are labeled and vilified, and their teachings are given names like last-generation theology. This implies that this is something new, something novel that has never been taught before. But here we have clear proof that this was actually the norm through the 50s. These teachings are actually bedrock Adventist teachings that have been lost sight of, rather than anything new. Don't let the scare tactics and name-calling drive you from embracing the truth that the Bible and the spirit of prophecy both teach. This is the truth of all time, but especially now, at the end of history.